Now I've got to put that in there. Because see, once I get it up there, I want the paper on the back side. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bracket there, and I'm going to use this track. See, I can use this instead of my 59-cent pieces. I can just use a piece of this. About yay long. Eyeball it straight down. Fold that up. Cut it here. I have to cut it at a slight angle. And if I was doing studs or something, I wouldn't have to cut this little bit off. Okay? And I can cut this in half. Be real careful when you're using metal. See there? I can use that for my a little bracket. And I know on this end I measured it and it was about 3/8 of an inch, 5/16 before I hit the other 2x4, and so it's going to be about there. And so I can take my 1-inch screws and I'm going to screw that in. Like that. Now I'm going to put that whole thing up there, and I'll take a few screws with me and my drill. Once I get it up in there, I'm going to flop this around, fold it in, and then I can screw it. Okay, you'll see, you'll see. I had to think about this for a second. So see, the rest of this paper, if I were to use this paper, I'm going to have to unroll it and then roll it back on itself before I staple it next time. All right, let's go up there and get this first piece put in. Okay, let's fit this piece up in there. To have that brackets back in there. Okay, come on, this is the tricky one. It's right where it's supposed to be. Pretty sure it is. see what I can do about wedging something up in there. Whew. See, this paper's going to go down here. Then when I put the OSB plywood on here, I'll have paper on that too, and that will go over the top of this, so that if water comes in from the back side, it's going to come down on the back of this paper on top of the next piece. Okay? That's how that's going to work. That bracket's just going to stay in there. That's screwed onto the bottom 2x8. And so now I'm going to have to take another 2x8 now. And I'll measure that. Looks like almost 23 inches. 22, let's see here, a short 23, and that being like 7 inches. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. My next piece is going to be 23 inches to the long of the 2x8, and then 7 inches, 7 1/8 inches, and I'll be able to wedge that one up in there now because I have the plywood on this side and the paper on this side, and I can kind of push it up in there, tap it up there, and I'll screw that one right to the top of this 2x8. Okay, and this paper I'll cut out. Okay. Just cut this out with a sharp knife. I'll cut it out to there, and I'll fold this over and stuff. I'm not going to cut that yet. I'm probably going to fold it over. I'll decide what to do with that when I get this 2x8 up in there. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do next. Now you already know how to cut the 45-degree angle, right? So I'm going to go out there and I'm going to cut it, and I'll be right back with that piece to put in there. Let's get you up in there closer. You see that bracket I put in there? I screwed that in. The bottom 2x8 is from here down to about there. Okay, so that one will go in next. And it'll go up just up to here. This is the long point right here going back down. I ended up having to put my screwdriver in there as a slight wedge to keep that up in there. But this next 2x8, once I rip it in there, I'm going to rip it just a hair tighter, because I ripped this off just slightly, a little bit more, so it would fit up in there. It wouldn't rip the backside of this paper as I put that in. So see, now the paper is all the way up above here, see? And that's where I wanted it, the paper, in case the stucco were to leak, let's say, on the outside. Let's say we had a leak in here, the stucco cracked or something, water got in right here. It would go just to the back side of the paper now. And then the paper, it would come straight down, okay? And then it would, from here, it would probably drip, whatever. I mean, I'm doing this kind of a makeshift after the fact, only because of the dry rot and stuff. Okay, and that's why I decided to put 2 layers just to kind of thicken it up, because there's all these staple ends are sharp and they're liable to rip the paper maybe on the first See, I do that, and there's already a slight little area where if water came in, it could leak right there. But with the second layer, it's not going to do that. I don't have that much paper to do. Basically, up in here, I got to do this whole thing this way. Paper. I don't necessarily have to put any paper on this back here, but I might put paper on this, wrap it all the way around, and then I think I'm going to put another piece of OSB on top of this one to sandwich this in case this is dry rot slightly on the back side. This piece felt pretty good. Okay, but anyways, this paper will go. I'll fold it down like that. See, it ripped to there, but that's okay. When the water comes down, it's going to come down here, but I don't want to rip that any further up that way. That's why I made this long. Then when the OSB paneling goes plywood, it'll go up to about here, because the next 2x6 will go from here on up. Okay, so that's why I have to just kind of leave this out here. I'm going to have to pokey this in down here at the bottom, you know, once I get that next 2x6 in there. Okay, I'll get it. I'll get her. And at least it'll be better. It'll be better than nothing. I don't want to just not do anything with this stuff, because see, any little bit here, if I get any leaks, it could leak. See this here? All of this. When I was pulling this out, these staples ripped through the paper. All that was dry rotted. That ripped out of there. You see all the way up in there, that's paper just all ripped. That's why I'm going to have to do paper kind of like this, but on the plywood, stapled on the backside of the plywood a little bit better. This was kind of tricky to do because I was using older paper, plus it was just a small little piece. So see, now I'll have to just cut that out of there. And then after I get the wood in there, then I'll caulk it on the outside. Okay, look at that. Oh, it's just a little piece of metal that they use. And it's right where it's supposed to be, right to there. That's where it was before. See, it looks crooked, but not much I can do about it now. Okay, just wanted to get you an idea of what's happening here. Once I keep going, you'll kind of get the idea of how it works, especially when you're having to work with dry rot repairs.